everybody, and welcome back to another AGP Creator Podcast. As always, I am your host. I am Amanda, and today I get to welcome back one of my best buddies. I'm absolutely stoked about this. My friend Madeleine from Boston Metaphysical Society. If you've ever watched any of my episodes or ever listened to me talk about this comic, I'm absolutely in love with it. Not to mention, she introduced me to one of my new best buds, HB Gibson, who has been over on YouTube playing some video games, which he's just been phenomenal with. But Madeleine has been such a great friend. She always supports AGP. She comes to the show. She has another amazing comic up on a Kickstarter. So without further ado, I want everybody to give my girl a round of applause. Yay!
Hi,
Seriously, hi. I miss you so much, but seriously, just the fact that you introduced me to my new friend, did you know that I got to bring him onto the show?
I didn't know. That's so great.
He was on the show.
HB, he is so talented. I was shocked when I found out that our audio drama, The Ghost Ship, was his first voiceover credit. And even my production team didn't know that, and I told them, Eddie, Louise, and Chip. I just said, "Did you know this was his first?" And they're going like, "Oh my God, he is so talented."
Yes.
And for those of you watching who don't know, H.B. Gibson is a wonderful voiceover actor who portrays Thomas Edison in my audio drama, Boston Metaphysical Society, The Ghost Ship, and he has so much fun with it. And I had so much fun writing his role. I mean, I could have a lot of fun with him.
He embodied it so well.
Yeah.
And he's such a great guy. And finding out that he's done a bunch of off-Broadway stuff and that he did the voice of a cop in a video game that I've actually played, I was just like, this is so cool. And then him and I started talking during the podcast, and the next thing I know, he's up on YouTube playing the video game, and he actually played the it's called Blood Wash, and he was actually playing the video game where he did the voice of the cop in the video game.
Oh, that's great.
And
you may have noticed that since we last spoke, behind me has changed.
Just a little.
Yeah, when I just, periodically my head explodes because I just have so much going on. So that happened again, and I just said I have to redo how everything is here in my office because I can't function like this anymore. And my husband says, "Well, you need shelving and everything." So I said I totally agree. So he started doing research on various shelving and what will work, and we talked about it. And so I ordered it. And while I was in Tucson for Wild Steampunk convention, he put this up. So I now have actual organization in my office.
Which is awesome.
Oh, yeah, I can actually find things. I don't have to trip over boxes or keep moving things to find things. And this is, yes. I know. Hello, sweetie. This is something I should have done probably years ago, but I guess I just had to wait till it got to a critical mass and my head to explode again for me to actually do something about it.
You just got to make sure every time, don't you? Don't you?
Yeah.
The best part is you're so used to this with her doing this at this point because you're on the show. Oh, fizzy stuff.
I must get attention.
I love the fact that she wants the attention, but she's going to kiss me but I love you, Mommy. Thank you. Are you happy now? Are you happy? Going to say hi? Say hi, Madeleine. I'm happy that you have a new Kickstarter. Which, congratulations on getting it funded again, like there was any doubt.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I was... For those of you who are new listening, the comic is about an ex-Pinkerton detective, a spirit photographer, and a genius scientist who battles supernatural forces in late 1800s Boston. The current Kickstarter is to print Volume 2, which contains our previously published 4 sequels, plus a bonus 10-page story, brand new one, with art by Roberta Ingranata, who's doing Doctor Who right now, and a fabulous cover by Marguerite Savage. I was so happy to be able to work with both of them. And but don't worry, volume 1 is available as well if you're brand new to the series. So there's what I call a new to Boston tier, which contains the print edition of volume 1 and volume 2 and our coloring book. And you can also get the digital version of the two, volume 1 and volume 2. But yeah, I figured it was time to start compiling everything, because this kind of finishes this. Though the stories are standalone, it is kind of a mini arc. They all link. There is linkage between all of them. But the next story is definitely going to be a 4-issue arc. So I've already mapped that out. So there is more coming. It's probably not going to be for another year, unfortunately. But
don't worry, she'll be back in that year.
It just takes time. That's all. Production takes time.
It really does. By the way, that is a really nice cover. That's really well done.
Yeah, Marguerite, she's done so much stuff. She's like Archie's and DC Bombshells, and I mean, she has a resume longer than my arm. So, yeah, it's. And then I just revealed. Well, I did an update last night, but did a public reveal of our 6th stretch goal, which is a huge one. My friend Mike Shea, who does Miskatonic High, he always has clever stretch goals and fun stuff. And so I talked to him quite a bit. And I noticed he had this metal bookmark. And I was thinking about metal bookmarks, but I couldn't find exactly what I was looking for. And so he found a company and brought on Alejandro Lee to collaborate with on the bookmark. And so, yeah, it's going to be a steel bookmark with a copper finish with the logo. I think I put it up on the website. And yeah, there it is. So it's going to be cut out. The airship is going to be cut out. Yeah. So if we make the stretch goal, which I think ultimately we will, everyone who pledges to a physical reward will get one.
Nice.
Yeah, I wanted to do something special for this one since it was the trade of all the sequels and everything, and but yeah, it's gonna look beautiful, and
it looks gorgeous there, and it's not even I can't even physically have it. This is just the proof.
Yeah, it's just the proof. And Alejandro, he's been so great. I can't say enough wonderful things about him. He designed the lapel pin, the steam engine lapel pin for this Kickstarter, and he also did the coloring book. So I rely on him to help me out with a lot of these. They're not little things, but they're not like a huge project. They're small projects, but he's been wonderful, and I'm glad I know him. We've already made the stretch goals for the magnets.
Yep. So you've already reached stretch goal number 1.
Oh yeah, we're up to number 6. So
so right now, guys, if you do a physical pledge, physical, that means hold it. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
You're gonna get all of these.
Yeah, you will get 18 digital comics, 4 magnets, and if we make this, then you'll also get the copper bookmark.
These 2 magnets, these amazing comics, these 2 awesome magnets, and then more comics, and then bam. I mean, that's impressive. And then let's see, what is it? You need for stretch goal 7. It's how much to reach that goal?
Oh, for number to make it number 6 it's 24.5. So we're about almost $1,500 short at this point.
Yeah.
We have 11 days. So
11 days, and again, absolutely congratulations. At 22,919 with 635 backers. Amazing job. Seriously. You're like to me, you're like the pro of Kickstarters. And I know that you have your book, which you can get on Amazon.
Yes,
About doing Kickstarting.
Yeah, the Kickstarter for the independent creator. Yes, you can pick that up. Look for the green cover because that's the second edition. The first edition is a brown cover. The reason I have both of them up there is that if I didn't, then all the reviews on the first edition would go away. That's how Amazon works. So if you upload a second edition, you have to link them and do all that. So, but yeah, it's a thing on Amazon. So I always say, like, get the green cover, which was done by Christy Shin, and that's the latest and greatest. I do need to update it though. I haven't updated it in a couple years. Not that anything has significantly changed. Some little things have, like Kickstarter now allows you to do add-ons. I think they're trying to usurp BackerKit a bit. But I have not used the add-ons with Kickstarter yet because from those who have used them, I think they haven't quite finessed those out yet. It's a software thing, and they'll get it worked out. I've no doubt. This is Kickstarter, so they'll, there's always growing pains when you're doing something new for anything. And BackerKit has just worked. It's expensive, but it's worked well for me.
And when she says green cover, she means that one.
Yeah, the second edition one, the green cover. Yeah.
So brownish red, green. Go for green, kids.
Go for green.
Go for green. That works. Go for green.
Go for green.
I didn't even mean to plan that. That just happened. Goofy me. So of course, like I said, this is your new Kickstarter's up and running. This is your 11th, if I remember correctly.
That is correct. It is my 11th. It actually probably says 10 there because I did the audio drama under our corporate name for legal reasons.
Makes sense to me. And of course, as always, you always have a nice, wonderful video to introduce everybody to what the Kickstarter is. And I would like to go ahead and play that if you don't mind.
Oh, not at all. Hi, my name is Madeleine Holly-Rosing, and I'm the writer-creator of the Steampunk Supernatural series, Boston Metaphysical Society. Welcome to our Kickstarter to print the trade paperback of Volume 2. If you're not familiar with the series, it's about an ex-Pinkerton detective, a spirit photographer, and a genius scientist who battles supernatural forces in late 1800s Boston. Now, Volume 2 will compile the previously published sequels, The Scourge of the Mechanical Men, The Spirit of Rebellion, Ghosts and Demons, and The Book of Demons into one trade paperback. But what makes this trade special is that it will include an exclusive brand new 10-page story with art by Roberta Ingranata, who is currently drawing Doctor Who, and a cover by the amazing Marguerite Savage. And at 176 pages, it's going to be a huge trade paperback. If you're missing Volume 1, don't worry, as it'll be available in both print and digital versions. We also have a brand new steam engine lapel pin and special limited reward tiers that include our audio drama, The Ghost Ship. The best part is that it's done and ready to go to the printers. So please check out our reward tiers and pledge today. Thank you in advance for your support.
Yay!
Yeah, and you get to see my hair and that was the day I had my hair and makeup done.
Honey, you are absolutely fabulous no matter what, whether hair or makeup or not. You should know this by now.
But yeah, my hair colorist, she always likes to do it because whenever I get my hair done with her, I just said, "Oh, just braid it back. I got to go work and do other things." She goes, "No, now I get to play with it and do fun stuff."
I want to play with the hair. It is funny when people are like, "Oh, darling, let me do this," and it's like, this. Do you ever feel weird when people start doing your hair or your makeup or anything? Like, this kind of feels weird.
No,
having somebody else do it. No, I've always felt weird.
I've done it so much, and quite frankly, they do such a better job than I do that it's like, here, yeah. I mean, there was an event many years, actually, it was the Geeky Awards many years ago. And, you know, it was kind of a big deal. So I'm part of a group called The Table here in Los Angeles, which has below the line and above the line talent. And there's makeup artists there. And I you know, paid one of them to come to the house to do my hair and makeup. And it was amazing. Because, you know, you get a professional, what they do is they don't make you look like someone else, but they make you look like a better version of yourself, which is kind of the point. So it's
I need a professional now.
I mean, they do. It just kind of makes a better you. And that's it. You don't want to be like, you know, look like a clown going to this special event. But yeah, I mean, she did a fabulous job, and I think she enjoyed coming to the house, because my husband and I were really low key and don't whine about things. We're like, oh, we're so happy you're here. What do you need? You need a drink. You need this. Da, da, da. And so it's okay. I'll sit here quietly. You just tell me what to do, and I'm going to shut up.
Yeah, I'm one of those people. Hey, fridge is that way. Cool. All right.
It's you know, I really try hard not to micromanage artists, including my own artists. It's like, okay, this is, you know, what I'm looking for. Go.
Well, you've always had a great, not reputation, but you've always had this great way of collaborating with the people that you work with on your comics. You've always been able to go, this is what I'm looking for. And you've always seemed to be able to find the artists that can still be able to be expressive of themselves and their talents, but give you what you're looking for and still be able to tell the story without you even having to put words into the comics. They're already showing the expression within the artwork that they do. You're really great at picking the perfect people to do the artwork for your comics.
Yeah, I discovered, you know, particularly, you know, through the years and doing the audio drama, that I'm a very good producer, and I pick talent well. That's suitable, you know, just what you said, for the project at hand. And, you know, of course, some of that has always come with a great advice from others, you know, learning from other people. But yeah, I seem to have a knack for choosing the right people for the job. And that's half the battle.
You really do. You're like when it comes to your project, you could tell this girl has produced, directed, written. Like if it was a movie, it'd be like produced by, directed by, starring by, written by, and that's okay, because this is a passion for you. You could tell that you have so much love and you really enjoy this world that you created, from whether it's the audiobooks, the comics, or even the novels within themselves, and how they're all intertwined, like they each kind of connect in their own way. And the fact that one of the reasons why I love Boston Metaphysical Society is because the people that you have picked to help you with these projects, plus yourself being able to draw and create and write about this amazing world, and you really feel like you're part of that world, that you're there within that time period, and you can feel the presence when they're talking about the demon or the ghost, and you just feel like you're part of the world. The world expands along as the story grows, but so does your characters. You're focusing on your characters and a story and a plot, and everything else just grows around it, and it's one of the things that I love about your series.
Oh, well, thank you. I will say that, yeah, I writing comics does give you a chance to direct, which otherwise you wouldn't. I will say for the audio drama, Chip Michael did all the direction. I actually wanted to do some of it and was signed up for a class to learn more about it, but that got canceled. And then, so I shadowed Chip while he was doing it and learned a ton, but also learned what I didn't know, and that he is way better at it than I would have been. So, you know, I just said, okay, you go ahead and do this. You clearly have more knowledge and are way better at this than I would be at this particular moment in time. And he did a fabulous job with the actors, and the actors were great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we had a hard time bringing it down to our, the final selection for that. But
yeah, we talked about that a little bit on the last one, how it's like, you have this perception of what they sound like. You went through this people. There was a couple of people that you're kind of like, and then you finally made your selections, and it just ended up, they meshed really well together.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think, and after listening to it, I think you made the right choices. I really do. By the way, congratulations on that. That was fabulous. I think I've listened to it now like 3 or 4 times. You know me, I'm such a huge nerdy fan of yours. It every time you message me, I'm like, yay! I'm such a fan. I fangirl out in front of you all the time, but that's okay.
It's so cute. I never know quite how to respond. It's like, okay,
Amanda, tone it down. It's all right. So of course, you talked a little bit about Boston Metaphysical Society, what it's a little bit about. Your video did describe a little bit about how this is going to be a graphic novel. For anybody who may have missed the video, or maybe they're not clear, what is this Kickstarter for?
It is to compile our 4 previous sequels, which include The Scourge of the Mechanical Men, Spirit of Rebellion, Ghosts and Demons, and the Book of Demons, all into one book. So you get 4 individual stories. These are basically 4 graphic novellas, all in one book, plus a 10-page bonus story. Yeah, that's brand new. It'll only be in this trade paperback. It's exclusive to this trade paperback that delves a little bit more into the backstory of one of the newer members of the team, and that's Alma Bryant. She's our amateur scientist who befriends Caitlin, and they venture out into the world on their own. One of the reasons I brought in Alma is because it got to the point where Caitlin really needed a friend, because Caitlin didn't really have any friends. I mean, she did when she was a child, but once her psychic abilities really became noticed and apparent, it made most of the people on the South Side pretty uncomfortable to be around her. So it wasn't until she was an adult and met Alma, and Alma is introduced in The Spirit of Rebellion, which is the second sequel. You go down, it's a Spirit of Rebellion.
Which these are the 4 books that she's talking about, ladies and gentlemen.
Those are the 4 books, yeah. Those are the 4 books that are all going into one trade paperback. That's why it's so huge. That's why it's 176 pages. That
is huge. But so worth it. Especially, guys, I'm going to tell you this right now. If this is your first time being introduced to this world, to this amazing creator, go ahead and get this, because those 4, I have all 4 of those. And obviously, you can see that Manage My Pledge. I'm getting this trade. I'm getting it. That's just the way how it works. Once you start reading these stories, you're not going to want to put it down. They are very enticing and a lot of fun. And the best part is if you're into history, this is the comic for you. If you're into paranormal activity, this is the comic for you. If you're into steampunk, this is the comic for you. If you're into a little bit of horror, this is the comic for you. Madeleine does a really great job of taking all of those different aspects and merging them into one that you would think like it's one particular topic. And that's what makes them so great, is you can find something, if you're into any of those things, to really enjoy these comics.
Yeah, I like doing cross-genre things. there's probably only not even a handful of stories that are what I would call, straight up steampunk type stories. And one of them is in the anthology Prelude called Steampunk Rat. And that does not have any paranormal elements in it. But it's actually a fan favorite. People love that because it's a rite of passage kind of story. And it's a YA story too, as well. That's in, like I said, in the anthology. It's one of the novellas. Those I started writing when we were in production for issues 1 through 6, which is now called Volume 1, to build canon for the universe as we went on. So a lot of those stories deal either with origin stories of the characters or how they first met, and some of the ancillary characters as well. So it's a really big world.
It really is a huge world. And watching Caitlin grow has probably been one of the funnest things I've gotten out of the series. Watching her grow, and when her powers, and learning to accept who she is such a great story. And it's something. Good afternoon, Dad Man. It's such a great opportunity because in the society that we live in today, even though that's not what the story's about, it is a little bit of what the story's about, is watching Caitlin accept who she is and being able to grow into the woman that she's becoming is actually a really good lesson for any boy or girl to understand, to accept who you are for your differences and being able to be the best person that you can be, even though you might be a little bit different than everybody else.
Yeah, because she's always pushing up. In fact, all of the characters push up against societal expectations. I mean, that's one of the dominant themes, is that they are stuck in a very, very rigid society. But all of them just keep pushing and pushing. And sometimes they push too much and bad things happen that they have to deal with. But they all grow from it. And it's been such a treat actually to watch them grow. And I do have to give shout outs to many of the fans who I discuss the stories with and have actually, asked good questions. And I'll go like, that's a good question. Let me go think about the answer. And that goes and generates another story.
Right. But that's great because, one, it allows you to know that people really are invested in your characters and your story. Two, it shows that you are listening to your fans. There are many creators out there, they don't listen to their fans. They just, but you're giving back to your fans going, hey, I heard your question. I kind of liked it. Check this out. And that's admirable.
Yeah. I mean, that's how Spirit of Rebellion, the very core of that began, was a conversation with a fan actually about something else. But then we started a tangent into repercussions for your actions. And I realized, okay, there's going to be repercussions for everything she did in issues 1 through 6.
Mm-hmm.
And so that actually comes out in Spirit of Rebellion, and her having to deal with it. And then that ends up leading her down a different path.
Oh yeah.
Because
and a lot of people don't realize that when you're writing these things, and you had this conversation, these are things that can be used for society today. You can, yes, you have to be able to accept who you are, and you want people to accept who you are. And yeah, you're going to push back against a society that's trying to keep you caged, but how far do you really push? And you realize for every action you do, there's going to be a reaction.
Yeah.
And so even though people are like, but it's a comic books and all sorts of media, especially when you're looking at independent creators such as yourself, there's messages in there if you just pay attention.
There's messages in all creative works, whatever you're doing, whether it be straight, art or, any kind of art, whether it be writing or sculpture or painting or illustration,
film,
any of that. And I remember, reading a comment about a writer director who's young, who said, she doesn't deal with, politics in her films. And I'm like, okay, either that's just being naive or you're being disingenuous, because
right.
all art is political.
Mm-hmm.
All art is. It can be in your face, or it can be more subtle in the background, or just part of the organic story that you've created. I don't like to lecture in my stories,
no.
At all, because that just gets boring.
No, yeah.
And heavy-handed. So there's social issues that are discussed within, but the storylines, but
it's part of the story.
It's more of the story, and it's in the background, and it's part of what the characters have to deal with.
Right. And it with yours, it's not. I'm sure you've seen it in some, like I've seen it where some, like, you're like, okay, this is cool, I enjoy where this is going, and like there's just this disconnection of, here, this is my message, and then it go, it's like it wasn't part of the story. It's a lot more. It seems to me, it will sink into people if it's more subtle and is part of the story.
Yeah.
Than just throwing it in their face and being on a soapbox and going, hey, look at me. The more subtle it is, the more people don't seem to realize it. And then later down the road, they go, oh, wait a minute, I get it. And I think that's actually a better way of doing it anyway.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I completely agree. I certainly tried very hard not to be heavy-handed in things and focus on the characters and how would they react, appropriately within different situations.
Right.
And whether it be for good or ill.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes they do stuff and everything is awesome. And then, like you said, we've seen things where they've kind of pushed a little bit and oops, this isn't going to be so great. My bad. And you can hear them going, oh, this is going to be bad. Oh. And it's stuff. And the thing is people can relate to that because people have done stuff like that. And I think that's one of the reasons why people love your characters is each of your characters are very relatable.
Yeah, I think so. They are in a lot of aspects. And, it's certainly been very fun writing them, and they're going to be dealing with a whole set of other issues when in the next series, beyond this. But yeah, so my brain is already, is over there.
I know how you go. Okay, done, and we're on over here. Yeah, part of her brain's here, and then the other one's slowly moving to this section over here at the exact same time. Yeah. Which is great because I love the fact that you're always staying creative, and you've always got your mind's always going. Must make wonderful sleepless nights sometimes, though.
Oh, no, I sleep.
You're like one of the only people then that I know in the creative world, because I'm one of those people. Okay, I'm going to go, oh, wait, I have this idea. Are you sleeping yet? No, absolutely not. I need to write all of this down because if I don't, I'll forget it. And then I'm like, okay, I'll go back to sleep. Oh, wait, let me add this back. I'm one of those people. I'm bad about that. If I start thinking and creating, I'm not sleeping.
Yeah, well, no, at that point, I'm done for the day, and we usually watch, something, and then I'll read something for a little while, and then I'll just go to sleep. And it's one of the reasons why I work out almost every single day is I sleep better.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
That's definitely helpful. Just
the body goes like crash, have to go sleep now.
I'm exhausted. Put me to bed.
Absolutely.
Which you know what, I could feel you there when running around and trying to get all of this stuff done. Even if I am thinking or I'm watching well, I was watching something, I was really into it, but I didn't realize how exhausted I was because I think I had been up for like 3 days, and I went, I'm gonna watch this.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it. So with Boston Metaphysical Society, you said that there's this new 10-page story that's within this one.
Correct.
That you have to get this particular book in order to get it. Is there anything you could tell us about the story?
It features Alma, our African-American amateur scientist, who has befriended Caitlin. You'll see a couple sample pages there, but it's just a very little story before she met the team, before she met Caitlin and all the rest. You know, she's a little bit younger, and she meets someone important for the first time, who you do meet in Spirit of Rebellion.
Nice.
And I also realized that I unintentionally made her a klutz.
I see this.
Yeah, Alma's a klutz. That just kind of happened. Because she does some tripping and falling in Spirit of Rebellion, and she does the same thing here. Like, oh, she's a klutz. Okay, Alma's a klutz.
Don't worry, Alma. I feel you there. I could barely walk and chew gum at the same time. It's all right, sweetheart.
But yeah, unlike a lot of the characters, she is a fictional character that I made up. For those of you who are new to all this, the only historical figure who is part of the team is the African-American gentleman in the cover. His name is Granville T. Woods. He existed in the same time period as Tesla and Edison and Bell. In fact, he knew Bell and Edison. There's no evidence that he ever knew Tesla. He probably heard of him, I'm sure, but I don't think they ever met. But I could be wrong. I don't know. There's not a whole lot of information about Granville out there. He's kind of got lost in American history, and I found him a long time ago when I was developing this story. And yeah, speaking of a long time ago, a fan said, he goes, you know, this is your 10th anniversary. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? This is BMS's 10th anniversary. And I said, oh, okay, you're right. He goes, you're not keeping track of this? I said, I'm busy. I'll let you keep track of it.
Shame on you. Shame on you.
So I was like, yeah, you're right. It was like 2012 that I think we first launched online. And the Boston Metaphysical has been with me a lot longer than that, because it was developed, quite a while ago when I was in film school. And now it's become this. So yeah, it's been a very interesting journey. If you'd asked me 10, 20 years ago that I'd be a regular at comic conventions and doing all of this, I would have gone like, no, I don't see that. I don't see that at all.
And here you are, you're on podcasts and doing interviews and Kickstarters. You got books on Amazon. You're going to conventions.
Yeah.
So exciting.
Yeah. I have 7 podcasts scheduled for next week. Like one every single day.
And I know you've been on a couple others before, because like you book yourself when you're promoting this stuff, which is something that people really need to pay attention to. Not only are you on social media going, hey guys, we got these backers. Hey guys, the Kickstarter's up and running. Hey guys, we're this close to this goal. But you're also out there going to not just top name people either. You're coming to people that anybody who is willing to talk about this and to help put the name out there. You're willing to give anybody the opportunity to talk about this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because you never know where backers are going to come from.
Right.
You just don't know.
You don't.
With the exception of you and maybe 2 others for this Kickstarter, I focused on reaching out to people I'd never been on their shows before.
That is awesome.
So yeah, it was time to do that because, I just don't like people feeling like they're hearing and seeing the same thing over and over again. But of course, when we do the new story, probably early next year, I'll be reaching out to everybody, everyone I've ever been on, because that's going to be a big Kickstarter.
Oh yeah, definitely. But I think that's really cool that you're like, I'm going to reach out to a couple other people or see if anybody reaches out to me and get on some, because a lot of people will constantly only do their rounds. Yeah. Well, I mean, some of them, you go there because you like the person, you guys get along. So you want that interaction, because sometimes you just kind of want that. I know exactly what they're going to ask. I know this is going to be nice and calm. There's no surprises. But going and experiencing somebody new who you've never been on their show, which could give you another audience, is just as important as going to the places that you're familiar with. So good job to you.
You have to constantly expand your market, and you can't do that by going back to the same folks. And I hope they're not offended that I didn't reach out to them. It's just like, aren't you tired of every year having me on their show? I'm giving you guys a break. I'll be back.
Don't do that to me. I love having you on this show, because
no, it's like the only time we get to talk. So okay, I gotta go contact Amanda and see how we can figure this out.
Oh yeah. Well, and like I said, you have introduced me to some people. They've become friends of mine. Like you said, with your comics, I wanted to learn actually a little bit more about Granville. I actually wanted to learn more about him. And I found out that, he mainly worked on trains and streetcars. He invented some of the technology that keeps subways running today in our society today. But he also helped bring the roller coaster to our lives. I never would have learned this stuff if I had never met you and I had never become a fan of your comic.
Yeah, and the unfortunate thing for him is that being African American, he could never market it himself. He sold all these patents, and that's how he made a living. He would invent stuff and he would sell it to people like Bell, and Westinghouse. That's where he sold a lot, was to Westinghouse.
Because didn't he have 50 patents on stuff at one point?
Probably, yeah. No, he did a lot, and I'm sure I told you the story about how he sued Edison for stealing some of his patents, because Edison did that to everybody. He ended up winning. Edison offered him a job, which he refused, and he started his own business with his brother Laertes up in upstate New York. I believe there's a small grave marker or some sort of very small monument, I think, in upstate New York to Granville and his work. I'd have to go refresh my memory on that, but I seem to recall that someone else kind of, dug him out of obscurity as well, and had a little monument, set up to him, because he pretty much died in obscurity.
Well, you're not obscure anymore, sir.
No, he's not.
He's really not. I mean, 'cause that's just one of those things is, you, whether it's your comic or the fact that we're sitting here talking about him now, he's not obscure anymore. People are going to get to find about him. And dude, you gave me one of my favorite things in the world to do. Whee! Roller coasters. You think about it. If you think about it, he introduced the world to the word whee. In the long run, anyway.
In the long run.
I can see his descendants going, this is what she's thinking he's great for, is the word we. Great. But no.
I don't think he was ever married or had children.
I don't I think
he had nieces and nephews.
Yeah, I think he had nieces and nephews, because I know he had siblings.
Yeah, he definitely had siblings. I don't think there's any direct descendants.
No, which is kind of sad, because if you guys take the time, and I'm telling you, take the time. His name is Gran, Granville, Ville, T. Woods. take the time to learn about the guy. He's really fascinating, and it's really interesting to learn all the stuff that he actually was a part of, even the stuff that he didn't get credit for, but he helped really shape our society.
Yeah, in what you think is really small ways, and but it's always the little tiny things that affect us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the little tiny things. Yeah,
like I said, the little things that he did we're still using them today. Roller coasters, subways. If this man didn't exist, we may not have these things.
Well, also he developed the railroad switching technology, so stations and trains and other trains could talk to each other while they were moving, so they didn't go crash. So he, in a sense, saved lives. He probably saved lives because of that.
So,
because otherwise, before that, they couldn't talk, and sometimes they would go boom, and it would be bad. Yeah. So, no, it's all these little things. So there's probably a lot of people alive today because of him.
yep. And again, like I said, this is one of the things that I actually like about your book, is because the moment you told me that he's actually based off of a real character, I really kind of wanted to learn more about him. And I wanted to see what you incorporated of what you learned, because I know you do your research. You don't just, I mean, yeah, it's a mixture of history and, the paranormal and steampunk, and there's a mixture, and there's always going to be, when you're doing something like this, the ability to be a little bit creative liability. But you do your research. You pay attention to the details. His character really does seem, it's him. It really is him. And you've done justice to him. You really have, from what I've read about him.
I'd like to think so. I like to think so. He's kind of often the cool head in all of this. Though I did have a great deal of fun putting him and Tesla together in Scourge of the Mechanical Man, just because I wanted to see these guys together, because it's almost like, a buddy cop kind of relationship, or Tesla's just being a pain in the ass, and Granville's like having none of that at all. And
it was very Lethal Weapon-y. It really was. You could just see Granville going, no, stop, knock it off. Like, it was great. I loved it.
But yeah, that was a lot of fun to write, and particularly with the twins, the brother and sister twins, who finished both their sentences, each other's sentences, and I really, and they were put upon too, because they were never given the credit that they were due. I mean, to the Morgans, and she was this genius, and their family got nothing.
Right.
And she's like, okay, we're done with this. We're getting our seat at the table. We're getting our due. They did it in a way that was clearly not appropriate, because I don't want to give away spoilers. But yeah, they were just so fun to deal with, and as the antagonist, because you did have sympathy for them.
That's when you really like your antagonist, is because you do have sympathy for him, but you're like, that's not the way that you should have done it. And I think and here's the thing, though, is their story is one of those types of stories that makes you go, but would I have actually done anything different?
Yeah.
And that's and that's just something that I love when, I read stories like that. It's like, that was wrong, but can I say I would honestly do it any different?
Yeah. It was definitely wrong, but, I get it. I get why they would do that.
Because, people sit back all the time going, well, if it was me, if it was you, would you really think about it? And if it makes you, if you have to stop and think, okay, I know that's wrong, but then the story's got you, and you know it's a great story if it makes you have to sit there and think.
Yeah, now this makes me want to bring them back.
Bring them back. Do it.
Bring
Please.
the twins back. Bring the twins back.
Make it a one short. I don't care. Something.
I'll think about that. I'll think about that. A short with the twins. Yeah, there's no way they can be in the next series because that's a different emphasis. But yeah, to bring back the twins would be fun. I really love the twins.
They were great characters, and like I said, just reading that, I was like, I wonder. So, I can't wait. Here I am. I'm supposed to be focusing on this Kickstarter, and I know this one's already on its way, and I'm really excited for this too. Like, I'm waiting for the big one. Because, yes, obviously, I really want to read this 10-page new story. And of course, I collect everything of yours that I could get my hands on. And the main draw for me is to get this new 10-page story because I want to learn more about her. I really do. I loved her introduction. Excuse me, I'm like choking now. I loved her introduction in the spirit of rebellion, and I really love the bonding that she has done with Caitlin. I really do, and I want to learn a little bit more about her, and especially now that she's a klutz, now I can relate to her more.
Yeah, that was almost accidental. I said, oh, okay, I guess I made Alma a klutz and didn't even realize it. It was just always in the back of my head somewhere, but. But that's okay. We all have our flaws. I mean, she's super smart already, so she's not going to be super smart at everything. She's super smart at a lot of things.
Right, and I love it because these 4 characters here, they have their flaws, they have their strengths, they have their weaknesses, but they seem to also be able to help each other with those situations. And
yeah, I mean, that was kind of the point, and one of the themes that are throughout Boston Metaphysical and pretty much everything I write is that you have these characters who all have different strengths and weaknesses, and definitely strengths on their own, but together they're an amazing force. But they also come from all different walks of life, but yet they learn to function together.
Right. They look past the outer shell and they really focus on what's on the inside with each other, and and it's just, they're such a great team together, and they're so much fun, and watching them go through this world that you created is just phenomenal.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, even Samuel is, I mean, he is in this weird social position. One, he has PTSD from his previous experiences, but yet he was married into a great house. His wife is now deceased, but yet he came from like a middle class section. Mm-hmm. So he has access to all of these worlds, but yet doesn't quite fit into any of them anymore. Right. And so he literally had to create his own space in which to exist. And that's what he did by, originally, he worked with Andrew, Caitlin's father, Andrew O'Sullivan, until his passing. And it was Andrew who introduced him to Granville and brought him in. That's a novella I actually wrote called The Demons of Liberty Row. When they first met and worked together. But yeah, he essentially, Samuel created his own space because he didn't fit into anybody else's.
Right.
Yeah.
He was always outside, and I get that. I really do.
Yeah.
I completely understand that situation that he was in.
So yeah, he gathers around him people who also don't fit into their traditional spaces.
Right. He was like, guys, over here's the nerdy table. Come here. Over here's the nerdy table. Let them have their little lunch tables. Come to my table. Come here. I like you. You're weird. You're kind of different. Come here. And I appreciate him for that, because his situation allowed him to look at other people in a different way than other people look at people. And that's, being able to look at people for other reasons than just the outer shell is something really important.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I like him so much.
Yeah, and I had one woman tell me one time, she goes, and he's so handsome.
Well, I mean, he is.
And
You can't deny that.
I didn't draw him. It was first Emily Hugh, of course, and then Gwen Tavares. But yeah, he's always the stoic in the background, sort of cowboy character. But yeah. And Ryan Philbrook on the audio drama played him just beautifully.
Oh, it's like he was alive in my house. It really was. So, I told you I've listened to it 3 or 4 times at this point. I've even made my dog listen to it, so my dogs listen to it. Gonna make my dog a fan of this. I don't have kids. I'll have to sit the puppy down and be like, okay, so we're going to read Boston Metaphysical Society tonight for bedtime stories. See, yes. It'll work.
There you go.
But we are coming up to the end of the hour.
Yes.
So, of course, was there any final words that you would like to say, Madeleine?
Other than go to the Kickstarter and pledge today, please. And so we can get to this really cool stretch goal that I can give to everybody.
I am really, really excited to see what this next one is.
Yeah, I think someone just upped their pledge to a physical reward.
That's awesome. And guys, if you're in the chat right now, there is the actual short link to go ahead. Just click on that link right there and it'll take you to it. And if you are looking for it, you can't click on the link right now. You're looking for it. You're just looking for Boston Metaphysical Society Volume 2. It's gonna pop up right for you. And yes, please go to the Kickstarter. If you can pledge. Remember, if you want any of those rewards, you're gonna want to up yourself from digital to an actual physical copy. I believe the first physical copy tier is $25.
That is correct.
Okay.
But it includes postage.
Yes, it does. Yay! But also, guys, remember, we understand that times can be tough. So if you can't back it, if you want to support, tell a friend. Share it on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, any place that you want to, because spreading the word of a Kickstarter is just as important as backing it, because it may reach somebody else who would be totally down and can help out by backing the Kickstarter. So we thank you if you do end up sharing this.
Absolutely.
We really do.
Thank you. I so appreciate people who post, share, tweet, because you never know who that's going to hit, who can back it, or knows somebody else who would be interested in backing it. And it's all good. And I appreciate every little bit of it.
And I appreciate it too, because I want this comic in everybody's house. I want everybody, seriously, I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again before we leave. If you're into history, if you're into the paranormal, if you're into sci-fi, if you're into character-driven comics, world-building comics, alternate history, steampunk, fantasy, this comic is real. It's something that you really want to check out. It combines all of these things into a great immersive world with characters who will grow, and they will feel like people that you've known your entire life, and you're gonna meet other unique characters that you're gonna be like we discussed, the twins. Bring them back. We actually figured out we really like these characters. That's the type of world that Madeleine and her crew has created for you to enjoy. So I highly recommend, if you can, back this Kickstarter, get volume 2, which is going to have basically all of volume 1 for you to enjoy, plus a new 10-page story to introduce you to one of my favorite klutzes, Alma, who is Kate's newest and awesomest best friend. and get it. Come join us in Boston Metaphysical Society. I promise you, you're not going to regret it.
Thank you.
My honor and pleasure. You've known from the day you went, hey, have you seen this comic? No? Cool. You want to see this comic? Yes. Back in the days when it was just you and I talking and no video.
Oh, yeah, when I'd be on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that.
Those things are archived. I still have them.
Oh, that's
I remember.
great.
I listened back to one of them. I was like, I sound so nervous. You were such this huge deal to me the very first time I met you. And I'm just like, what do I do? What do I do? I don't know. I think you were one of the few interviews that I had at the time that I didn't know who you were, versus my friends coming on and going, here, because you know us, this will be easy for you to break the ice. You are my very first I don't know you podcasts.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
And so I was so nervous. And now look at us all these years later.
No, you did fine. Hey, I keep coming back, which is
just say something.
It says something. Yeah. I mean, there's going to be some podcasts I won't be going back. So, yeah.
They're normally, and like I said, I told you before, I want it to be more, we get to know you, we get to talk, it's a conversation. I never want to be that podcast that goes, who are you, what do you do, get off my show. I don't think I could ever do something like that. Because having the conversation, in my opinion, with the creator, even if you've never met them, means that you're showing them respect because you're showing interest in them.
No, it's all appreciated, and thank you very much.
Oh, thank you for that reach out that very first time, and always coming back and always thinking of me every time you have a Kickstarter and introducing me to a world that I absolutely adore. To new friends like Mr. H.B. Gibson. And
I'm so glad you got to meet him.
I'm so glad. I couldn't believe it when he showed up because I think we were talking about the audiobook. He showed up in the chat. I reached out to him when I knew he was part of the audiobook, because I thought, I've never actually had a voice actor on my channel. This will be really cool. And we ended up talking, and he came on, and he did some cosplay. So I took his little Jedi robe thing, and I took that picture, and I was just, I can't even remember what the introduction was. And when I introduced him, I came up with this elaborate introduction. He came back, he's like, can I use that? I went, go ahead.
Oh, and yeah, I met HB. I was at New York Comic Con, and he came in on Saturday, cosplayed, and helped me out at the table. And he was wonderful. He just charmed everyone who came to the table. And I think his cousin and a couple of his cousins and others were there. And they actually came to me and said, thank you for having him here, because he really wanted to be at a table at New York Comic Con. And I looked at them, I said, do you understand how talented he is? Do you really understand how good he is? And they just said, thank you. And I said, no, I'm not kidding here.
This guy's awesome.
This guy is awesome.
But as many times as you thank me, I really do want to thank you, Madeleine. You've been a great friend, a great supporter, and I absolutely love and adore you as a person and your creation.
Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. All right, guys, with that, we're going to say our goodbyes, but don't forget to head over to the Kickstarter and either please pledge, or go ahead and grab that link and share it on any of your links to let your friends and family know. On that note, I am Amanda. This is Madeleine, and make sure that you check out Boston Metaphysical Society. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.